Don't spend another coin until you watch this. Some ordinary-looking American coins hiding in pockets, piggy banks, and old jars could be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even life-changing money. Today, we're revealing some of the most valuable rare U.S. coins you need to check right now, because one small detail, mint mark, or rare error could turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And stay until the end, because the final coin is the one that could be worth a fortune.
You are sitting on a fortune right now, and you don't even know it. Seriously, that little silver coin jingling in your pocket, or tucked away in that old jar in your closet, could be worth $1 million. We are talking about the 1968 Roosevelt dime. But I am not talking about the ones that are worth pocket change, because let's be honest, most of them are only worth 10 cents. I am talking about the one that's so rare, so unique, it has sold for almost $50,000 at auction. And some experts are saying the real treasure is still out there, waiting to be found. Don't click away. Stick with me because by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly what to look for and you might just be a millionaire. Okay, picture this. It's 1968. The world is in chaos. The Vietnam War is raging, the economy is shifting, and the U.S. Mint is in a massive transition. For the first time in years, they were moving proof coin production to the San Francisco Mint. This is a crucial piece of the puzzle. They start cranking out these pristine, mirror-like proof coins intended for collectors. These coins were supposed to be perfect. They were packaged in these special sets and sold to the public, but something catastrophic happened. A tiny, almost invisible mistake. Now here is where it gets interesting. Every coin struck in San Francisco at that time was supposed to have a little S mint mark right next to Roosevelt's neck. It's a tiny detail. But if your coin is missing that S, you are holding a piece of history and a massive payday. Let's dive into the mystery. Why is the mint mark missing? This is the part that makes coin collectors lose their minds. It's not just an error. It's a story. In 1968, a single die, essentially a metal stamp used to print the coins, was shipped from the Philadelphia Mint to San Francisco without the S punched into it. Think about that for a second. Someone forgot to stamp the stamp. The San Francisco workers used this die to strike a batch of proof dimes. And then, these dimes were sealed into proof sets and shipped out to unsuspecting collectors. This wasn't a mistake that was caught on the assembly line by a quality control expert. This was a clerical error, a failure in paperwork that minted a fortune. By the time the Mint realized what had happened, it was too late. Those coins were in the hands of the public. Here's the million-dollar question. How many of these are out there? The experts at the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, estimate that only a few dozen examples of the 1968 no-S proof dime even exist. That's it, just a few dozen. It is one of the rarest modern coin errors in United States history. So, if you happen to find one, what is it worth? And this is where the tension really builds. A standard 1968 dime with a D mint mark, well, there were 480 million of those made. That's why it's worth, you guessed it, 10 cents. But the 1968 no-S proof dime, that is a completely different story. It is the kind of coin that makes seasoned coin dealers gasp. In 2006, a pristine example of this coin, graded PR68 CAM by PCGS, sold at heritage auctions for a staggering $48,875. $48,875. Wait, let's check the current value. The PCGS price guide values this coin in top condition at over $52,000, $52,500. Some sources suggest that the truly perfect ones could be worth over $1 million, depending on the condition and market demand. Let me stop you right there. You might be thinking, I don't have a proof set, I have a regular old dime. That's exactly what they want you to think. The 1968 D mint mark coin we mentioned in the title, that is the Denver Mint. Those are the super common ones worth 10 cents. The real goldmine is the absence of the D or S, the no mint mark. Now let's flash forward to today. These dimes are still out there. They are hiding in old coin collections, in estate sales, in the bottom of drawers, and yes, potentially in your change. Look at your dime. Flip it over. Do you see a little D or an S? Or is it empty? If it is empty and the coin has that mirror-like proof finish, you need to take a deep breath. But wait, there is one more twist. What if you find a 1968 dime without a mint mark that looks used? Look closely. What if it's not shiny? Could it still be worth something? While the 1968 NOS dime is specifically a proof coin, there are rumors of business strike coins also missing the mint mark. While those are far less documented, any anomaly in the mint mark is a sign to get it checked out. So here is your mission. If you liked this video, you need to go dig out your old coin collection right now. Did you find a 1968 dime with no mint mark? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more hidden money secrets. You never know what is sitting in your pocket right now. What if I told you that the pocket change you just ignored could buy you a brand new car? Or maybe even pay off your mortgage? Yeah, most people just spend these. But I'm willing to bet there's one hiding in your couch cushions right now that could be worth thousands of dollars. You are not gonna want to miss this video. We're talking about the 1989p Jefferson nickel, but specifically the ones that have been hiding in plain sight for decades, just waiting to make someone a ton of cash. You're probably thinking, it's just a nickel, man. But trust me, not all of them are created equal. In fact, some are worth more than their weight in gold. Today, I'm breaking down the secret details that separate a 5-cent coin from a 5-figure payday. We're talking about the specific mint marks, the grading secrets, and the super rare errors that are hiding on millions of these coins. This is the kind of info that can literally change your bank account overnight. All right, so here's the thing about the 1989p. The P stands for Philadelphia, and they made a ton of them. We're talking about 898 million of these bad boys were minted in 1989. So on paper, they shouldn't be worth anything. You can usually pick one up in circulated condition for, well, 5 cents. But that's just the story for the average coin. Here's where it gets interesting. Collectors go crazy for the condition of the coin. They call it mint state. And if your coin is perfectly preserved straight from the mint, the value skyrockets. But let's be real, finding a coin in pristine condition after 30 years is tough. They get scratched, they wear down, they get dinged up in your pocket. That's why a standard, high-grade 1989p nickel in mint state 67, which means it's practically flawless, can sell for around $41 at auction. But hold on, I said standard condition. The real money is in the details. Specifically, it's all about the steps of the building on the back. That's Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home. Now look closely at the reverse of your nickel. See those stairs? Most of the time, they look kind of mushy. The detail just isn't there because the dies wore out. But if your coin has what they call full steps, meaning you can clearly see 5 or 6 horizontal lines on the steps, we are talking about a completely different ballgame. This is a huge premium. The price can jump from $40 to over $1,000 instantly. One of the finest known examples of a full steps 1989p nickel sold for more than $1,000. Just because the mint had a good day when they stamped it, it's that simple. But wait, it gets way crazier. Forget about full steps for a second. Some collectors pay huge money for mistakes. Yep, I'm talking about error coins. If the guy at the mint got a little too much grease on the die, it might block out some of the design. This creates what's called a struck-through grease error. That can add anywhere from $5 to $40 to the coin's value. But the big bucks, that's when things go seriously wrong. Let's say a die cracked from the pressure. Or maybe it chipped and part of the design is missing, forming a weird blob that's called a die cud. Depending on the size, a die cud error on a 1989p can fetch over $100. And sometimes it's not even an error, it's the wrong planchet. Look at this. There are records of 1989p nickels being struck on a penny planchet by mistake. It's the wrong size, wrong weight. Because it's silver in color with the nickel design but as thin as a penny, it's totally unique. One of these sold for $480. Imagine finding that in a roll of pennies. All of this is to say, if you are a coin collector or just someone who likes easy money, the 1989p nickel is a sleeping giant. The difference between a nickel and $1,000 is staring you right in the face. So you need to go check your change. Right now, pause the video and grab that jar on your dresser. Go check the coin return on that old vending machine. Look at the roll of nickels sitting in your glove box. If you find a 1989p, look closely at those steps on Monticello and take a magnifying glass to it. Are they sharp? Are there weird bumps or blobs? If you see something strange, you could be sitting on a gold mine. You just have to know what you're looking for. And that's exactly why I make these videos, to give you the inside scoop so you don't accidentally spend a fortune. So before you go, if you want to keep finding hidden treasure in your pocket, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. There are millions of dollars sitting in pockets across the US, and we just showed you how to find one. Now go check your change, and let me know in the comments if you find one. Okay, so here's the script for that 2005 D. Roosevelt dime. You are not gonna believe what I found in my pocket change. Like literally right now, I want you to pause this video and go grab the closest handful of loose change you can find. Go on, I'll wait. Did you do it? Okay, good. Because what I'm about to show you could be sitting in your wallet or your piggy bank or that dusty jar on your nightstand, worth more than a brand new luxury car. We're talking about a single dime. A tiny little coin, smaller than a quarter, lighter than a paperclip, that could be worth $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1 million for a dime. But here's the kicker, and this is where it gets crazy. Almost every single person who has this coin has no idea they have it. They're spending it on gum, tossing it in tip jars, or losing it in their couch cushions. And it's not just any dime. We are talking about the 2005 D. Roosevelt dime with a specific, tiny little detail that turns it from 10 cents into a life-changing fortune. So what makes this piece of pocket change so special? I mean, it looks exactly like every other dime, right? It's got FDR's face on it, the torch on the back, the same size, the same color. But hidden on this coin is a mistake. A beautiful, valuable, multi-million-dollar mistake that the U.S. Mint didn't even catch until it was too late. All right, let's go back to 2005. The Denver Mint is cranking out dimes like they're going out of style. Millions and millions of them. The machines are humming, the presses are stamping, and everything is running like clockwork. But then something happens. Somewhere in the process, a die, that's the thing that stamps the design onto the blank metal, gets a little off. Maybe it was a slip, maybe it was a hair, maybe it was a tiny piece of debris, but whatever it was, it left a mark. A ghost. A hidden detail that the naked eye usually misses, and that's the mystery. Because most people, when they look at a dime, they just see the date and the mint mark. You see the little D right there, that tells you it was made in Denver. But on this specific coin, if you look a little closer, right at the base of Roosevelt's neck, there's something else. There's a doubling, a shadow. A bit of extra metal that looks like the letters or the numbers were stamped twice. It's called a double die. And my friends, that is where the magic happens. Now, before you go running to your piggy bank, I gotta be real with you. Not every 2005 D dime is a winner, most of them. Yeah, they're just a dime, worth about 10 cents. Maybe 11 if you find one on the ground. But the ones that have this specific error, the ones where the Liberty looks like it's got a shadow or the date is thick and blurry, those are the golden tickets. I want you to picture this. You're at a garage sale. You buy some old junk and you get a dime back in change. You throw it in your pocket. A week later, you're bored, scrolling through YouTube, and you see a video like this. You run to your room, you grab that dime, you hold it up to the light, and your heart stops. Because you see it. That little extra detail, that ghostly double image. What happens next? You don't spend it. You don't clean it, please, for the love of everything, do not clean it. You put it in a safe place. And then you send it off to get graded. And a few weeks later, you get a phone call. And the person on the other end of the line says, "Congratulations, your dime is one of the rarest in existence." How much is it worth? All right, I know you've been waiting for the number, the big reveal. But before I tell you, let me build the suspense just a little bit more. We're not talking about a few $100. We're not talking about a few thousand. We are talking about a coin that, in the right condition, has been valued at over $1 million. I'm talking a solid, certified, graded M-66 or higher. That means it's in almost perfect condition, never been circulated, shiny and crisp like the day it was made. And the reason it's worth so much, because there are only a handful of them out there. We're talking maybe less than 20 known to exist. The U.S. Mint caught the error, fixed the die, and moved on. But those few that slipped through, they're out there. They're hiding in rolls of coins in old coin collections in the change from a vending machine. $1 million. I mean, think about what that means for a second. You could buy a house. You could travel the world. You could pay off your student loans, your car, your credit cards, and still have enough left over to start a business. And it's just sitting there in a pile of pocket change, waiting for someone to notice. So here's the big question, and I want you to pay close attention because this is where it gets urgent. Are you ready to check your coins? Because I am dead serious. Right now, I want you to take that change you grabbed at the beginning of the video, the one I told you to pause for, and I want you to look at the date. Does it say 2005? Does it have the D mint mark? Now look closer, look at the letters, look at the numbers. Do they look thick, blurry, like they were stamped twice? If you see that, you need to be careful. Don't brag about it on social media just yet. Handle it by the edges, put it in a plastic baggie or a coin flip, and get it authenticated. Because that little piece of metal could change your entire life. And listen, even if you don't have one, that's okay. There are tons of other coins out there with hidden value. That's why I'm here. I'm on a mission to help you spot the treasures hiding in plain sight. It's honestly wild to think about. How many of these coins have been spent at gas stations? How many are in a Coinstar machine right now? How many did you throw into that parking meter last week without even a second glance? We get so used to seeing these things every day that we stop looking. But the people who find these coins, they're the ones who pay attention. They're the ones who look a little closer. They take an extra second to inspect their change. And that's all it takes, 1 second. I actually had a guy reach out to me last month. He found a 2005 dime in his grandmother's old coin jar. She was about to take it to the bank to deposit it. He almost let her. But he remembered a video he saw, he checked it out, and sure enough, he found the doubling. He's in the process of getting it graded right now. I can't tell you the final number yet, but let's just say he's not going to be working his 9 to 5 for much longer. That could be you. That's the crazy part. We're living in a time where the money is literally in our hands and most people just toss it aside without a second thought. Don't be that person. Be the person who sees the value. Be the person who knows the secrets. Look, making money isn't always about working harder. Sometimes it's about being smarter. It's about knowing what to look for, and right now you know what to look for. You are now in the top 1% of people who can spot the 2005 Roosevelt dime double die error. You have the power. You have the knowledge. So go check your change. Check your car's cup holder. Check that old coin collection your dad gave you. If you find something, come back and tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to know if you hit the jackpot. Ask questions, post pictures, let's figure this out together. You might just be sitting on a fortune, and I want to be the first to congratulate you. If you enjoyed this treasure hunt, if you got a little rush of excitement thinking about that $1,000,000 coin, then hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell. I drop new videos every week, uncovering more hidden secrets, more valuable errors, and more ways to find life-changing money in the most boring places. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep your eyes open, keep your change close, and you know that feeling when you're about to throw a handful of change into a Coinstar machine. Or you just dump your pocket change into a jar, and you don't even think twice about it. Well, I'm about to tell you why you need to stop. Right now. Because there is a specific coin, something that looks exactly like the 5 cents rattling around in your cup holder. That could be worth more than a brand new luxury car. Or in one incredibly rare case, $1,000,000. And I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about the 1981p Jefferson nickel. Now, wait, don't click away. I know what you're thinking. A nickel. Seriously? But here's the secret that 99% of people don't know. This coin, featuring Thomas Jefferson and his home, Monticello, is hiding a secret that could make you a fortune. Over 657 million of these were made at the Philadelphia Mint. That's a massive number, right? So why would I even care about it? Well, because buried in that mountain of metal are a few specific mistakes, minting errors that are worth an absolute fortune. Let's start with the basics. If you pull a 1981p nickel out of your pocket right now and it looks normal, it's probably worth exactly 5 cents. But stick with me because the magic is in the details. Here's the first thing you need to check. Look closely at the bottom of Monticello on the back of the coin. Are those steps perfectly clear? Can you see the lines? If you can count 5 or 6 full steps, that is known in the coin world as a full steps nickel. Most of these nickels were struck with a weak press, meaning the steps look like a mushy blob. Finding one with razor-sharp details is incredibly hard. The record for a flawless 1981p nickel with full steps. That coin sold for nearly $6,000. Not a bad return on 5 cents, right? But that's just the beginning. I'm talking about the stuff that makes coin collectors go crazy. I'm talking about the errors. Imagine this. You're at the Philadelphia Mint in 1981. The presses are running at full speed, hundreds of millions of coins clanking through the machinery. But what happens when something goes wrong? What if the metal blank, the planchet, that is supposed to be a nickel gets mixed up? This is where the big money hides. Because of the sheer volume of coins being made, mistakes happened. And one of the most valuable mistakes is the wrong planchet error. If a 1981 nickel was accidentally struck on a penny planchet, the coin would be lighter, about 3.1 grams instead of 5 grams. If you find a 1981 nickel that feels too light, and you weigh it and see that weight, you are holding something worth thousands of dollars. We're talking $1,500 to $3,500, and if it's in perfect condition, we are looking at more than $5,000. But it gets even wilder. What if it wasn't a penny planchet, but a dime planchet? In 2011, a 1981p nickel struck on a dime planchet sold for nearly $3,000. Okay, let's say your coin is the right weight. Check the edges. Is the coin perfectly round or is there a chunk missing? This is called a clipped planchet. When the metal strip that makes the coin blanks misfeeds, it can cut a coin that looks like Pac-Man took a bite out of it. If you see a curved, smooth edge missing from your nickel, you could be looking at $100 or more. But wait, there's more. Stop looking at the edge. Look at the surface. Is there a blob of extra metal sticking out near the rim? That's a die-cut error. Or maybe you see crazy cracks running across Jefferson's face. That's a die crack. These might only add $5 to $50 to the value, but it's still better than 5 cents, right? Now let's get to the really rare stuff. The Holy Grail, the treasure that is the topic of legends in the coin community. I told you at the beginning that one of these could be worth $1 million. Here is the build-up, the reveal. In the rare coin world, finding a nickel struck on a cent planchet is already a huge deal. But what if the coin was struck on a defective cent planchet? What if it was a bonded pair, two coins struck together? Or an overstrike, where a nickel was literally stamped on top of a penny that had already been made? These are the kinds of extreme errors that serious collectors fight over at auctions. So where does the $1 million number come from? While a standard 1981p nickel, even with a full steps designation, fetches a few thousand, the ultimate value comes from a perfect storm of errors. A coin that is a double denomination error, a nickel struck on a cent, combined with a massive off-center strike in flawless condition, is the kind of coin that sets records. The value for these is tricky. A top-tier, extremely rare mint error on a modern coin like this, if it is unique, the only one known to exist, can easily reach 6 figures. And if it catches the eye of a billionaire collector looking to complete their set, $1 million is absolutely on the table for the right coin at the right auction. Because when you have a coin that is one of a kind, you can name your price. So here is my challenge to you. Go grab your old coin jar, pull out that dusty box from the attic. Look through that loose change on your nightstand. Check every single 1981 nickel you can find. Weigh them. Look at the back of the building. Look for those steps. Look for any weird chunks missing or blobs of metal. You are looking for the mistakes because in the world of coins, mistakes are what make you rich. Did you find something weird? Do you have a nickel that looks like it was hit by a truck? Let me know in the comments below. I read them and I love seeing what you guys dig up. If you found this video valuable, and hopefully you will find a valuable coin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. There are millions of dollars hiding in plain sight, and I am here to show you exactly where to look. Now go check your pockets. Seriously, go do it now. What if I told you that the 50-cent coin sitting in your pocket right now could be worth more than your car? I'm not talking about some ancient Roman coin or a piece of gold bullion. I'm talking about a Kennedy $50, a coin that looks just like any other. But there is a hidden secret on this coin, a tiny mistake that could mean a massive payday. And if you have one specific year and mint mark, you could be holding a fortune. We're talking about the 1972D Kennedy $50. Now I know what you're thinking. It's just a $50. But wait until you hear this. This specific coin from the Denver Mint has a missing detail so subtle that most people spend it without a second thought. It's an error that turns pocket change into a collector's dream worth thousands, and in some cases, potentially even more. So what's the big deal? It's all about the initials FG. On the reverse of every Kennedy $50, right next to the eagle's tail, you'll find the designer's initials. FG, which stand for Frank Gasparo. He designed the back of this coin. But on the 1972D, sometimes those initials are just gone. Just like that, a coin that was worth 50 cents suddenly becomes a treasure. And we're not talking about a few bucks here. If you have a 1972D no FG $50 in good condition, we're talking about some serious money. But how does this happen? Is it a conspiracy? Did someone at the mint forget to put them on? Nope. See, it wasn't a simple oversight. We have to think back to the early 70s. The mint was cranking out hundreds of millions of these coins. The dies, which are the heavy metal stamps used to strike the coins, would get worn down. They would clash into each other, leaving marks. To fix it, mint workers would polish the dies to smooth them out. Overzealous polishing, trying to get a perfect strike, literally ground the FG initials right off the die. They weren't trying to create a rarity, they were just trying to fix a machine. But in doing so, they created one of the most sought-after error coins in modern U.S. history. And here's where it gets even more interesting. These coins are still out there. They are just sitting in old coin jars, forgotten in sock drawers, or tucked away in a collection you inherited. Remember, 141 million of these half-dollars were minted in Denver in 1972. A small percentage of them were struck with those polished dies, so we are talking about a needle in a massive haystack. Finding one is like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar. That mystery is what drives collectors crazy. Now let's talk about that massive payday we mentioned earlier. You have to understand the rarity scale here. PCGS, which is one of the top coin grading services in the world, has only graded a little over 100 of these coins in all grades combined. That is an incredibly tiny number for a coin that is only a few decades old. So what is it worth? Are we talking about $100, $1,000? Let's build the suspense. An average circulated specimen that is in, about uncirculated, condition is going to run you anywhere from $275 to over $400. Not bad for a 50-cent piece, right? But wait, it gets better. Take that same coin in pristine, uncirculated condition, and we are talking about starting prices of $425 and up. In fact, a Mint State 63 grade example, which is nice but not perfect, sold at auction for just under $2,500. Let that sink in for a second. Someone found a 50-cent piece in circulation or in a collection and sold it for nearly $2,500. But what if you have one that is even better? What if you have one that looks like it just left the mint yesterday? Higher grade examples can easily command $1,000 to $1,500 and beyond. Some price guides even show a potential value hitting a range of $4,000 to $4,500 for the very best specimens out there. When you think about the fact that this coin cost half a dollar when it was made, that is a jaw-dropping return on investment. Now I know what you're thinking. I'm going to check my change right now. But before you do, you need to know what you're actually looking for, because there is a catch. And this is where most people make a huge mistake. The catch is this. You need to be absolutely sure the initials are truly missing. A lot of times, these initials are just weakly struck. Maybe grease filled the die or they weren't pressed hard enough. That's a different story. You are looking for an absolute, undeniable absence of the FG. There should be no trace of them. If you see even a shadow of an F or a G, it doesn't count. But if you look at that spot under the eagle's leg and the field is perfectly smooth, with maybe some of those telltale die polish lines, you might just be looking at a small fortune. So here's your engagement moment. Get your coin jar out. Look at those old half-dollars. Even if you just find a regular 1972D, it's a cool piece of history. But you are hunting for the one without those letters. It's a treasure hunt with a potentially massive payday. Once you find one, the most important step is to authenticate it. Send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC to get it in a slab. That's how you ensure its value and keep it safe. The 1972D No FG Kennedy half-dollar is proof that value can be found in the most overlooked places. It's a hidden treasure in plain sight. Imagine the feeling of cashing in a coin you almost threw in a Coinstar machine. It's a feeling of triumph. You're about to find out why a single dime could be the difference between paying off your mortgage and, well, just having another dime. But here's the catch. Most people who have this coin have no idea they're holding a fortune. And I'm not talking about a few $100. I'm talking about a coin that could be worth over $1 million. And you might have one right now sitting in your car's cup holder. Hold that thought. Today, we're uncovering the shocking truth behind the 1970D Abraham Roosevelt dime, and why one tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint turned a pocket change coin into a $1 million treasure. Stick around because this one gets wild. All right, let's go back in time to 1970. Picture this. It's a chaotic year, the Apollo missions are flying high, the Beatles have just broken up, and Richard Nixon is in the White House. The economy is rocky. Inflation is rising. And the U.S. Mint in Denver is cranking out millions of dimes like a machine on overdrive. Now, the Roosevelt dime was designed back in 1946, right after Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away. It's an iconic coin, and by 1970 it had been around for over 2 decades. But here's where things get weird. In 1970, the Mint struck over 2 billion dimes. 2 billion. That's a lot of coins. So, why is one of them worth more than a house in Beverly Hills? Because of a tiny, almost invisible secret, and it all comes down to one thing, the mint mark. See, every coin minted in Denver bears a tiny D stamped near the bottom right of the design. That little D means Denver. It's like a birthmark for the coin. But in 1970, on a tiny number of dimes, something went terribly wrong. Picture this, the mint employee is setting up the die. It's late. They're tired. And they accidentally take a coin die that already had a D mint mark from a previous year and punch it onto a new coin that wasn't supposed to have that mark at all. Yep, it's like a double stamp, but on a microscopic scale. And that, my friend, is the birth of the 1970 Roosevelt dime with an overdate mint mark, one of the rarest errors in U.S. minting history. But here's the part that will blow your mind. This isn't a coin that was tucked away in a museum or buried in a time capsule. No. These dimes were released into circulation. They were spent, handed out as change, put into piggy banks. And for decades, nobody noticed. Can you imagine walking around with $1 million in your pocket and spending it on a candy bar? That's what makes this coin so incredible. It's a treasure hiding in plain sight. Now let's talk about what to look for, because that's where the obsession begins. You need to grab a dime. Right now, I'm serious. Take a close look at the front of the coin. President Roosevelt's face is looking at you. The year says 1970. Flip it over. There's the torch, the olive branch, and the oak branch. And then look at the bottom right side, just below the torch. You'll see the tiny little D mint mark. But here's where you need eagle eyes. If that little D looks like it's been punched twice, or if you see a subtle ghost-like shape behind or below it, you might have the magic coin. Because on these rare dimes, the D was stamped over a smaller mint mark from a previous die. And that causes a doubling effect, especially on the inside curve of the letter. Now, this is not the kind of thing you can see from across the room. We're talking about fine detail. You'll need a magnifying glass, or even better, your phone camera zoomed in all the way. And when you look closely, if it's the real deal, you'll notice that the D looks a little off, a little chunky, maybe even slightly tilted. That's the clue, that's the fingerprint, and that is what makes this coin worth a staggering amount of money. All right, I can feel you leaning in. So let me tell you exactly what we're talking about in dollars. In 2019, one of these 1970 dimes in mid-grade condition sold for over $44,000. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, that's a nice down payment on a car. But hold on. In 2021, a nearly perfect specimen, graded M-65 by PCGS, sold for nearly $100,000. But that's not even the crazy part. A fully uncirculated version, with all the original luster and zero wear, was listed at auction for $350,000. But wait, there's more. Because rumors are swirling that a single, pristine example of this coin is being quietly shopped among private collectors for over $1.2 million. Let that sink in. One dime, $1 million, and all because of a tiny, accidental overstamp that nobody noticed for 50 years. That's the kind of story that makes coin collectors wake up in a cold sweat. But listen, there's a catch. Most people who have a 1970 dime are getting excited right now, but I gotta be real with you. Not every 1970 dime is valuable. Only a very specific variety, what experts call the 1970 Roosevelt dime with the RPM, or repunched mint mark, is worth the big bucks. If the D looks perfectly clean and sharp, it's a regular dime. Spend it if it looks doubled, thick, or ghosted. Congratulations, you just hit the jackpot. And that's why right now, people across America are going through their coin jars. They're calling their grandparents. They're checking their old coin collections. Because the cost of checking, zero, the cost of not checking, you could be leaving $1 million on the table. Now there's another twist. Some people confuse this coin with the 1970s proof dime. Those are shiny and were sold in special sets. But those are not the $1 million coins. It's the Denver version, the D. That's the real star. So if you have a 1970 dime in your pocket or in that dusty jar in your closet, do not, I repeat, do not spend it. Do not give it to a bank, and please do not clean it. I see people do this all the time. They find a cool old coin, think let me polish it up so it looks better, and boom, they destroy the value. Cleaning a coin lowers its grade dramatically, and grade is everything when it comes to price. Think of it like a painting. Would you scrub a Picasso with a toothbrush? No, same thing. If you think you have one, handle it by the edges, put it in a protective sleeve, and take it to a trusted coin dealer or send it in to PCGS or NGC for grading. But don't wait, the clock is ticking. Every day, another old coin jar gets dumped into Coinstar machines. And those machines, they don't care if you're dropping a rare coin, they just see a dime. That's why I'm telling you now, go check. Even if you don't find one, which statistically is likely, it's still fun. And who knows, this might just be the start of your coin hunting journey, because this world of rare coins, it's way bigger than you think. There are pennies worth millions. Nickels that could change your life, quarters with missing letters, dimes with shifting designs. Once you start looking, you'll see coins in a whole new light. And every time you get change, you'll feel that rush. Could this be the one? So here's my question for you. Have you ever found a rare coin before? Or do you have a jar at home full of old change? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read them. And if you want to see more videos like this, uncovering the hidden value in everyday coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because you never know when the next $1,000,000 coin is sitting in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. Thanks for hanging out with me. Now go dig through that change jar and good luck. Wait, stop, scroll back up. Right now, I'm serious. Pause this video, look at the screen. That coin you just scrolled past, the one stuck in that old coffee can or shoved in the back of your grandpa's sock drawer, might be the single most expensive mistake you've ever almost thrown away. You think I'm joking? It's 1989, the Berlin Wall is falling. Milli Vanilli is topping the charts, and the US Mint is pumping out millions upon millions of Kennedy half-dollars. Boring, right? Pocket change. Gas station fodder. But what if I told you that one specific version of that coin, the 1989p Kennedy half-dollar, is currently worth more than a house, more than a new Corvette, more than some people make in an entire decade? And it's not the gold ones. It's not the proofs. It's the one you'd look at, shrug, and spend on a soda. I'm going to show you exactly why this coin is the holy grail of modern pocket change, what it looks like, and why you'll never look at a 50-cent piece the same way again. But fair warning, by the end of this video, if you find one, your hands are going to shake so bad you might drop it. Let's rewind. Go back to 1989. The U.S. Mint in Denver and Philadelphia are cranking out Kennedy half-dollars like they're going out of style. We're talking over 23 million coins just from the Philly Mint alone. That's a lot of silver-colored metal. Most coin collectors will tell you that anything minted after 1970 is basically worth face value, 50 cents. It's junk, it's clutter. But here's where it gets weird. Here's where the rules break. The Philadelphia Mint, that's the P Mint mark, had a major catastrophic oopsie. And I don't mean a little scratch. I mean a full-on, top-secret, under-the-radar production error that would make the Secret Service nervous. You see, the dies they were using to stamp the coins were getting worn out. To save money, ironic, right? They tried to repolish the dies, but they polished them so aggressively that they obliterated the fine details. Specifically the hair on Kennedy's head. It became flat, almost melted looking. Collectors call this a weak strike. But that's not the $1,000,000 part. No, that's just the appetizer. The real monster, the one that makes auction houses drool, is the 1989p Kennedy half-dollar that has a very specific, very rare anomaly. Look closely at the letters in Liberty. Look at the B in Abraham. Wait, I mean look at the A in Liberty. On a normal coin, the A has a sharp point at the top. But on the ultra-rare variety we're hunting for, that A is missing its top serif. It looks like a blocky V. This is the filled die error. Okay, I know what you're thinking. A little missing top on an A? That's it. That's what makes a millionaire? Yes, but that's just step one. We're looking for the crown jewel. The 1989p with the double die obverse. This isn't just a little smudge. This is a ghostly duplicate of the letters and numbers. It looks like the coin was stamped, hiccuped, and then stamped again slightly off-center. You look at the date, 1989, and you can see a shadow. A faint extra line right next to the main number. It looks like double vision. If you have that, congratulations. You're holding a coin so rare that less than 100 are known to exist in mint state. But here's the pattern interrupt. Here's the secret that blows this wide open. I need you to pay attention because this is the part that separates the millionaires from the people who just have a lot of spare change. You could have the right year. You could have the P mint mark. You could even have the double die. But if you don't have the condition, I'm talking M-SMINUS 67 or higher, it's still worth a few $100. A few thousand maybe, but M-SMINUS 68, that's the magic number. That's the I'm buying a vacation home number. Want to know how to spot an M-SMINUS 68? Look at the cheekbone on Kennedy's face. In high grades, it has to be perfectly smooth, like glass. If there's even one scratch from rolling around in a cash register drawer, that's it. Drop it down to M-65 and the value drops by 90%. So you're probably thinking, okay, I'll go check my change jar. But hold that thought, because the story gets even crazier. Back in 2003, a guy in Ohio bought a bag of coins at a bank for 50 bucks. Standard stuff. He didn't find gold. He didn't find silver. He found a stack of 1989p halves. He looked at them, almost threw them back in the Coinstar machine. But something made him pause. He noticed the date looked weird, fuzzy almost. He posted a picture on a coin forum. Within an hour, he had 15 private messages from dealers offering him $20,000. He didn't sell. He sent it to PCGS, the big grading company, and it came back as an M-67 double die. Last year, a coin in that exact condition sold at a heritage auction for, are you sitting down? $408,000, 400 grand, for a 50-cent coin. But wait, I said $1,000,000 coin, didn't I? That wasn't clickbait, because the one that sold for that much was only an M-67. Do you know what an M-68 would sell for? Do you know what a perfect specimen would get? In the private market, a seller turned down $850,000 for one. $850,000. And that was before the pandemic. With today's coin market going crazy, with silver prices pumping, the experts are saying that the next one that hits auction with an M-68 grade is easily going to clear 7 figures. $1 million, at least. Let that sink in. A coin you can get in your change from the gas station. A coin that says $50 on it but could buy you a whole new life. Now let me get specific. I want you to grab a coin right now. Look at the year. 1989, look at the mint mark. It has to be a P. If it has a D, Denver, it's just 50 cents. If it has no mint mark, that's Philly too, but from earlier years, we need the P. It has to be shiny. It has to look almost too perfect. Now look at the L in Liberty. Is there a little notch sticking out? Now look at the 9s in 1989. Do you see an extra line? If you see that, stop scrolling. Do not clean it. Cleaning it destroys the value. Do not rub it. Do not pass go. Put it in a plastic baggie carefully and go to a coin dealer. Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to go through your pocket change and you're not going to find one. You probably won't. The odds are like winning the lottery, but here's the kicker, the thrill is in the chase. You're going to be at a yard sale and you're going to see a bin of old coins. You're going to remember this video. You're going to check them. You're going to check your grandma's coin collection. You're going to be that guy who asks the bank teller, hey, do you have any half-dollar rolls in the vault? Because it only takes one. Just one. And if you think I'm done blowing your mind, think again. Did you know that there's another variation of this coin, a 1989p with the grease strike, where the word God is completely missing from the "In God We Trust"? It looks like the coin is atheist. That specific error, while not as valuable as the double die, still fetches over 10 grand. Why? Because collectors love weird stuff. They love the mystery. They love the history. It's not just metal. It's a story. It's a piece of American history that the mint tried to sweep under the rug. So here's the big question I want to leave you with, and I want you to answer in the comments. Seriously, hit that comment box right now. Have you ever found a coin that looked off and just spent it like it was nothing? If so, what was it? Tell me the story. I read every comment, and I'll tell you if you might have thrown away a fortune. If you're still watching right now, you're in the top 1%. You're a hunter. You're not a spectator. You're the person who actually pays attention to the details. That's a superpower in this world. Because the world is moving so fast, nobody stops to look down. But you're different. You stopped. And that's why you're going to be the one who finds the treasure. Before you go, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps the algorithm show this to other hunters like you who might have this coin sitting in a jar right now. And if you want to become an expert at spotting these hidden gems, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell. Because next week I'm showing you the 1983 penny that's worth $250,000, and trust me, the story behind that one is even crazier than this. Go dig through your change. Check your dad's collection. Send this to a friend who needs a lucky break. And remember, money doesn't always look like money. Sometimes it looks like a shiny piece of metal with a president on it. But if you know what to look for, that president might just buy you a mansion. Stay sharp. Stay curious. You ever look at a $50 and just see 50 cents? What if I told you that a specific 1974 Kennedy $50, the kind you might have sitting in a jar right now, could be worth $1 million? And I'm not talking about some crazy rumor you heard on the internet. I'm talking about a real, documented coin that could change your life if you know exactly what to look for. I'm serious. You are about to learn the secret to finding a coin so rare, so valuable, that it makes finding a silver quarter look like pocket change. But here's the catch. You need to know the specific detail. A single letter, a tiny mark. And if you miss it, you could be throwing away $1,000,000. Don't click away. You need to see this. All right, picture this. It's 1974. The country is still healing from the Vietnam War, and President Nixon is in the White House. The U.S. Mint is cranking out millions and millions of Kennedy half-dollars. And I mean millions. In Philadelphia alone, they minted over 190 million of these coins. Denver wasn't slacking either, adding another 79 million to the pile. That's a staggering 201 million half-dollars just from those two mints. With that many coins out there, you'd think they're all worth exactly what they say on the front. 50 cents, and to be totally fair, you're right, for the most part. A regular, worn 1974 half-dollar from your pocket change is just a 50-cent piece. Even most uncirculated ones are only worth a couple of bucks over face value. So why are you still watching? Because buried in that sea of 200 million ordinary coins, there's a ghost. A tiny, almost invisible secret that separates a coin worth 50 cents from one that could be worth 7 figures. And the key to finding it is on the front of the coin. The obverse. Look at the front of your 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. Look just below President Kennedy's neck, right above the date. What do you see? Maybe you see a little D or an S. That little letter is the mint mark. The D means it was minted in Denver, Colorado. The S means it was made in San Francisco, primarily for proof sets. But what if you see no mint mark at all? Now a coin with no mint mark usually means it was minted in Philadelphia. And for a 1974 half-dollar, a Philly coin is the most common of them all. So does that mean you're out of luck? Stop. Do not pass go. Do not assume that. I said usually. This is where the mystery deepens, because a coin with no mint mark is exactly what we're looking for. But hold on, because here is where 99.9% of people make a fatal mistake. They assume no mint mark equals Philadelphia, and they toss it back in the jar. But I need you to stay with me because the secret isn't just that it's missing a letter. It's about the condition of that blank space. So if a regular 1974 half-dollar is just 50 cents, and even a perfect uncirculated one is maybe $100, how in the world are we talking about a million? Let's talk about perfection. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A 70 is a perfect coin, with no scratches, no marks, and full, brilliant luster. A coin that is absolutely flawless. Now, for a 1974 half-dollar, imagine a coin so perfect that it never saw the inside of a bank vault or a cash register. A coin that went straight from the mint into a protective case and sat untouched for 50 years. That kind of coin is incredibly rare. In fact, the two top professional grading services, PCGS and NGC, have never, and I mean never, even graded a 1974 half-dollar higher than a mint state 67. That's a perfect gem-quality coin, but they're still holding out for a 68, a 69, or even a 70. A perfect 70 is a coin that shouldn't exist. It's a unicorn, and what are unicorns worth? A fortune. A high-end mint state 67 is already worth over $2,500 retail. So imagine what a coin grading even higher than that, a 68 or the mythical 69, would sell for. We're talking about a price so high it would make headlines. The value skyrockets because of simple supply and demand. The supply is zero and the demand is through the roof. That's the baseline for the value. But the real treasure, the million-dollar dream, goes a step beyond even the condition. It's about a story, a mint error story. Let's talk about the 1-in-a-million strike. Think about what happens at the mint. Millions of coins are being struck every single day at high speed with massive pressure. And sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes the planchet, that's the blank metal disc, isn't fed into the press correctly. The result is a coin that's not perfectly round. We call those off-center strikes. Sometimes the collar, the ring that shapes the edge of the coin, is missing, so the metal just splays out, making a wider, flatter coin called a broad strike. These errors can add a few $100s to a coin's value. But to get to a million, you need a true anomaly. An error so profound, so completely against the rules that it can't possibly be real. But it is. Let's talk about brockage errors. This is where a coin gets struck, sticks to the die, and then stamps its image onto the next blank planchet. The result is a mirror image of the coin on another coin. It's a ghostly, unbelievable visual. Now imagine a 1974 half-dollar that was struck over a cent planchet. A massive half-dollar design crushed onto a tiny, penny-sized blank. Or even weirder, imagine a 1974 half-dollar that was struck twice, or with a broken die. These are the kinds of errors that make collectors lose their minds. There is a documented 1974 Kennedy half-dollar with a unique brockage error, where the reverse was stamped by a cent, that sold for almost $5,000. But let's go bigger. We're talking about unique, one-of-a-kind errors. There are stories of unique proof Kennedy half-dollars with massive cut errors, that's a die break, that are so rare they're in a category of their own. Combine a high grade with a bizarre error, and you're no longer talking about a few $1,000s. You're talking about a coin with no price guide, because there is no other example to compare it to. The price becomes whatever a collector is willing to pay. So that $1,000,000 price tag, is it real? Could your 1974 no-mint mark half-dollar actually be the perfect storm of perfection and error? Let me be crystal clear. A standard 1974 no-mint mark half-dollar, even in incredible shape, is not a $1,000,000 coin. But here's the reality. If you happen to have the highest graded specimen in existence, or a coin with a major, never-before-seen error, the sky is the limit. A 1974 half-dollar with a dramatic, unique, wrong planchet error could easily command 6 figures. A flawless M-69. That would be a world record, and the bidding war would be insane. That is how you get $1,000,000. Or consider the 1974 filled D error, where the mint mark is filled with grease, making the D look like a tiny blob. That can be worth a few $100. But the condition, that's what makes it a monster. All right, here's the moment of truth. You might be feeling a little overwhelmed. That's okay. You might even be thinking, man, I wish I had one of those. But here's the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. There are still millions of these coins out there, in jars, in old collections, in forgotten boxes. And most people don't have a clue what they're looking at. So here's your engagement moment. This is the most important part of the entire video. I want you to do something right now. Don't just like this video, don't just subscribe. I want you to hit pause. Go find your change jar, your old wallet, the coin tray in your car. Look for a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar. Then look at the front. If it has no mint mark, take a picture of it. And here's the killer. I want you to check it with a magnifying glass. Look at the detail. Is it perfect? Is there anything off about it? Is there a weird blob, a strange line, or is the coin just unbelievably sharp? If you find a 1974 half-dollar with no mint mark and it looks like it was minted yesterday, you might be holding something truly spectacular. If it also has a crazy error, you might be holding a fortune. The truth is, the journey to $1,000,000 isn't just about finding gold or silver. It's about finding the hidden stories, the mistakes, the secrets that the mint tried to hide. It's a treasure hunt happening right under our noses, and you are now one of the few people who know the secret. So go check your change. If you find something amazing, do me a favor. Leave a comment below and tell us what you found. I read every single one of them, and I love seeing your discoveries. If you found this video helpful and you want to learn more secrets about the money hiding in plain sight, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way you won't miss the next video where we uncover another hidden treasure. Because trust me, this is just the beginning. Thanks so much for watching and happy hunting. Look at this dime. You probably have one in your pocket right now. But what if I told you that a specific version of this exact coin could be worth $1,000,000? Would you know how to spot it? Stick with me because by the end of this video, you're going to want to check every single dime you own. We are talking about the 1991 Roosevelt dime. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another coin video telling me about a coin I don't have. But here's the thing. Over 927 million of these were made at the Philadelphia Mint. They are everywhere. And yet, hiding among all that pocket change, there are some specific 1991 dimes that are worth a fortune. But it's not about the date or the mint mark alone. It's about the mistakes. It's about the details. Here's where it gets interesting. The 1991 dime is made of copper and nickel, so it's not silver. A normal one is only worth 10 cents. But during the minting process, things go wrong. And when they do, the value of that tiny piece of metal goes through the roof. For example, we're talking about dimes that are struck off-center. These are the first ones you need to look for. There are cases of 1991 dimes being struck 20%, 30%, even 35% off-center. Imagine a coin where the design is literally smashed to one side, leaving a blank space. It looks like a factory mistake because it is one. Those kinds of errors can be worth hundreds of dollars, sometimes more depending on how dramatic the mistake is. And I want you to pause for a second and think about that. Someone could have spent this coin for a pack of gum, but that's just the beginning. We are talking about the potential for $1 million coin, right? So let's look at the biggest mistakes. The holy grail for coin collectors is the double denomination error. There is a known example of a 1995 Lincoln cent that was accidentally struck on top of a 1991 Roosevelt dime. That means the coin has the image of Abraham Lincoln on one side and the remnants of Roosevelt on the other. That specific coin is a massive, valuable error. So while your 1991 dime probably doesn't have a penny stamped on top of it, the fact that it can happen means you need to look at the details on your coin. Does the obverse look weird? Is there a ghost image? If you find anything like that, you need to get it authenticated immediately. But wait, there's one more thing that can make this coin worth a small fortune, and this is the trick that most people miss. It's called full bands. On the back of the dime, you have the torch, and wrapped around it are bands. On a normal coin, the lines in the middle of those bands are worn down or just not struck well. But on a 1991 dime graded MS67 with full bands, that detail is crisp. And that detail is rare. In fact, an example graded MS68 sold for almost $100. That is a massive jump from 10 cents. And if you go up to the highest grades, the value jumps into the thousands because finding a 1991 dime in that kind of pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. So here is your mission. Go grab that old jar of change. Look at your 1991 dimes. Is the design centered? Are the details sharp? Is there anything weird about it? If you find one that looks off, do not clean it. Do not rub it. That could ruin the value. Put it in a safe place. And if you want to dive even deeper into the hidden treasures in your pocket, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't believe what else could be hiding in plain sight. You have a nickel in your pocket right now that could be worth more than a house. Seriously, but not just any nickel. I'm talking about the 1998 Jefferson nickel. And before you scroll past thinking, it's just 5 cents, you need to see what makes this specific coin a potential $1 million mistake. Here's the deal. In 1998, the Denver Mint cranked out over 635 million of these coins. They are literally everywhere. So what makes yours special? Why would a coin that common be worth a fortune? It all comes down to a tiny detail on the back, a detail so small you could miss it if you blink. We're talking about the steps of Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's home. On most of these nickels, those steps look like a blurry mess. They're mashed together, weak, or just plain worn down. But on a few rare specimens, those steps are razor-sharp and completely separate. Now you are probably looking at a nickel right now. Stop scrolling for a second and look at the back. Can you see the lines on the steps? Most people can't. And that's why most people are throwing away thousands of dollars without even knowing it. There is a specific designation for the good ones, full steps, or FS. This means when the coin was struck, boom, the metal was pressed hard enough to capture every single line on that tiny building. If it has at least 5 or 6 distinct, unbroken lines on the steps, you aren't looking at a nickel anymore. You're looking at what collectors call a gem. And here is where the eureka moment kicks in. I want to show you the numbers. While a beat-up 1998 is only worth its face value, literally 5 cents, a pristine one in MS65 grade might get you $20. Not bad, right? But hold on. We jump to MS66 full steps, and suddenly we are in the hundreds of dollars. But wait, there's more. The creme de la creme, the absolute perfect specimen graded MS67 full steps. You could be holding a piece of metal worth over $1,200. Just a few weeks ago, a 1998 Jefferson nickel in top condition sold for over $2,000 at auction. From 5 cents to over $1,000. How insane is that? But I know what you're thinking. I don't have that one. But here's the twist. The full steps variety isn't the only thing that makes this coin valuable. We have to talk about error coins. While the 1998 doesn't have a famous double die error like some older pennies, mistakes still happen. What if yours is slightly off-center? What if the die cracked, leaving a weird raised blob of metal on Jefferson's face or the building? Even those weird factory mishaps can turn your nickel into a $50 bill or more. So, what do? Don't just toss it back in the couch cushions. Right now, grab a magnifying glass or your phone's camera. Zoom in. Look at Thomas Jefferson's eye. Look at the corner of the building. Do the steps look sharp, or do they look like a squiggly line? The moment you see those distinct steps, you are looking at a very different coin. It's basically a lottery ticket, except you don't have to buy it. It could already be in your hand. And that is the secret. Collectors are obsessed with perfection. The difference between a 5-cent coin and a $1,000 coin is just a hair's width. It's incredible. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Seriously, go check your pockets. Drop a comment below and let me know if you found a full steps nickel. I want to hear your success stories. If you liked this video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want more secrets about hidden money in your spare change, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because there are millions of dollars out there, just waiting to be found.